Mr. Tracking Production.
Angels, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you all about the most common lock mistakes, okay? Now these aren't just mistakes that I'm like making up. These are mistakes that either I have made myself or that I know other people have made. All right, so we're gonna get into the tea. But before I continue, if this is your first time to my page, you already know what I'm gonna say. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can see this face and hear me talk all this nonsense like as soon as I drop the video. Okay? So let's get into it. Common lock mistakes. I forgot my fiance went and bought this fun mic, so I had to use it. I feel like I'm doing a podcast right now. So anyway, number one of the most common lock mistakes I find that people make, if you've been following me for a minute, you already know what I'm about to say, and that is this notion that you don't need conditioner. Listen, we're still natural hair people, okay? Our natural, kinky, curly hair still needs conditioner. Get out of your mind that conditioner serves one purpose, and that's to detangle. Conditioner does so much more than just detangle your hair. It truly adds in moisture. And it adds in moisture to your locks to your hair at like the inner of each strand. Like it's not just coating the outside. So strong, healthy hair, conditioner is super important. And there's a very simple reason for that, right? Like our hair, right? Black folks in particular, our hair needs moisture before any kind of manipulation. Like especially natural hair people, when our hair is in its natural glory, like we need moisture. So any type of manipulation on dry hair, number one, is almost impossible, right? Shout out to loose natural girls who have ever tried to change a hairstyle when your hair was dry. You know, hair gotta be wet to change style. But yeah, so we need any kind of moisture to manipulate. It decreases the amount of damage and breakage that would occur from the manipulation that comes with retwisting your hair. So I promise, don't retwist dry hair. Don't. Let's keep the party going. This one is near and dear to me because I did this in my early lock journey, and a few of my lock babies have suffered because of it. And that is picking the lint out of your locks. I think my very first or second YouTube video, I talked about how important it was to not pick your locks. Basically, you know, you look in the mirror, you see lint wrapped around a couple of your locks, you pull out a piece of lint, and then you're like, oh, there's more. And then you just keep digging, and as you're picking out the lint, like maybe a little of your hair comes out, you ignore it. Next thing you know, you've created like a big, giant, weak pocket in the middle of your lock, and either you have two options. Number one, you can pay money and get it repaired, or you're gonna do what most people do, and that's just cut it off. So, I mean, they end up suffering, right? So somehow I'm not center anymore. I have a couple locks in the back that are substantially shorter than the rest of my hair because I cut off like a couple inches because I was just picking it. So don't do that, okay? Like the lint is annoying. You can do different things to get rid of it. I know it's like the bentonite clay. I've heard great things about it. You can try that. A lot of people say ACV gets lint out. I did an ACV. It definitely did pull some lint out of my locks. So there are other ways that I, from the bottom of my heart, suggest you try before picking them, because I promise you, you're gonna damage them. Like you're gonna get lint out, yes, but you're also gonna pull out the inside of your lock, and there's no going back to that. From that, don't do it. Okay, I don't know what tip we're up to. 3, 4. I don't know. Another common lock mistake that people make is during the retwist process. So retwisting your locks, you're either going to palm roll, you're gonna interlock. Yeah, those are really like the only two super approved methods of retwisting your hair. One of the things that I suggest, and like this is very important, is to make sure that you're not trying to retwist dry locks. And when I say dry, I mean like bone dry, right? Like there should always be some level of moisture to your locks. So even if your hair is not super soaking wet, if you've moistened it with a little spray bottle or product, that's super important, especially at the root where you're gonna do the retwisting. Another common lock mistake that I find that we make is trimming the lock frizz. Now listen, I get that some people prefer a more manicured lock, like super smooth from root to tip. I get it. So when you have, and I have it too, like we all have it, you have some locks where the hair is either separated from the lock at the root, or it's just, be honest, it's broken off at the root, and or down the shaft of the lock, you have like little sporadic hairs, and your first instinct is to cut them. Like, don't cut them. Wrap those hairs around your lock. If you stay consistent with wrapping them around your lock, they'll eventually reincorporate themselves into the lock, and you don't have to sacrifice any lock thickness. I know most of y'all gonna be like, yeah, whatever, Johnny, and just cut it anyway, but that's just, a little bit of advice for me to you. The next tip, the next lock mistake, I should say. I keep saying tips, these are lock mistakes. The next lock mistake that you should not make is going to bed with wet locks, okay? I don't care if you run around all day outside to get them to dry. I don't care if you use the blow dryer. I don't care if you sit under a dryer. Do not go to bed with wet locks. Do you know what happens when you go to sleep with wet hair constantly? I'll tell you. It's called fungus, mold, mildew, whatever words you want to use that makes you feel good about it. That is what happens when you go to bed with wet hair. Fungus needs two things to grow, okay? It needs darkness and moisture. So when you lay on those locks and you got that water locked in there in the middle of your lock, and you turn off all those lights, it is the perfect breeding ground for fungus. Like, have you ever smelled somebody's hair with locks and you're like, oh God, it stinks? Like, I'm pretty sure we've all encountered a person with stinky locks and that almost like deterred us from getting them. That's because they got fungus in their hair. And when you have fungus in your locks, it's undeniable. Okay, everybody can smell it. You can smell it. And I mean, you can attempt to do a whole bunch of detoxes and ACVs to get fungus out, but I feel like most people who get mold in their locks usually just cut them off and start over because it's just so horrific and it's, to some degree embarrassing. So yeah, just spare yourself. Dry your locks before you lay down and go to bed. Please, please, please. Another common lock mistake that people make, and loose natural people shouldn't do this either, but that's going to bed without tying your hair up. Find a silk bonnet. They make them super giant for people with long locks, or silk scarf or satin, because that will by itself create so much lint in your locks. We're all guilty of laying down, on our locks, right? I don't wrap my hair up every time I lay on a pillow or on a couch, but just generally speaking, try to reduce the amount of times you do that. So at night, it's a really convenient time to wrap your hair up because you don't want to end up with a whole bunch of lint in your locks and then you're back to my second or third tip, trying to pick it and damaging. So do yourself a favor, wrap your hair. Another common lock mistake, and this is a mistake with hair in general, is overstyling and styling too tight. Your locks are the result of hair shedding from your scalp, normal healthy hair shedding from your scalp that stays incorporated into a lock. That means your lock is way, way heavier than it would be if you were somebody who combed their hair every day. So with that being said, the lock by itself is already more tension on your scalp and on the roots. So don't compound that with super duper tight lock styling, because you will lose more hair at your root and then you'll have not enough to support your lock. This is gonna be my last common lock mistake, and then I'm gonna be done fussing at y'all for this video. And then I'm probably gonna do a part 2 because there are so many more. I just don't wanna, snatch all your edges, pun intended, this video. One of the most common lock mistakes that people make is using too much product, okay? Your locks are super duper prone to buildup. It is just what it is. You're not going to be able to get every single drop of product out of your hair when you wash it as easily as if you're a loose natural person. So we don't want to use any kind of thick putties or any kind of thick gels, and any kind of like twisting product that you use sparingly. And stay away from shea butter, okay? Do not retwist your locks with shea butter. I'm serious, y'all. Like, use the most water-based product you can find and don't use a lot of it. Like, our locks, buildup is so easy to do. And don't feel like if you end up with buildup that you're like doing a horrible job maintaining your locks. Like, it's so easy to get buildup. So try your hardest, find a nice water-based product that you can use to retwist them, and only use a little bit of it. I promise, your like more mature lock self will thank me later. Okay? So I think that's it for today. Like, I'm done fussing at y'all. Don't forget to hit the bell. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to comment. And I will see y'all for part 2.